Howdy on Willex Lives. I think it's time to play a little... What's going on here? Wait, it just disappeared. Weird. Little 7 Days to Die. Alright, we gotta get... We gotta get some hardware books. Oh no! Whew. It didn't break my leg. That's close though. Just doesn't want to go down the ladder. I think I need to come out to this road. I did go south. I think I'm gonna go north. Or no, let's go east today. See what we can see. I wandered around. I did record an episode, but I just deleted it because I felt it was a little too boring. I didn't have anything done the last time I recorded, and so I didn't have anything to talk about like I like to do in these. And well, since then I've watched a bunch of stuff, so got lots to talk about. Okay, I'm just gonna leave you guys. All right, I went and saw Monsters. No, Weapons. It was called Weapons, not Monsters. Oh, this didn't go anywhere. That's because I'm not on the right road yet. That's a big tree. I went and saw Weapons. It was kind of dumb. I didn't care for it. Spoilers for Weapons. I saw a trailer for it and I thought it sounded cool. An entire classroom of children except for one child and the teacher vanish. And so that seemed cool. And but then it just turned dumb. Basically the way they did the movie made it super boring to me. And the problem I had with it was it started and it follows the teacher, and I don't know if they plastered her name in a title card or not, but so they had the teacher and they followed her around for a bit, and then about 30 minutes or so into the movie, then it switched to a different character with a title card with their name, and then that person did some stuff that we hadn't seen in the teacher's part, but then a good chunk of their part was just the teacher's part again, but from a different point of view. And I was like, okay. And then we switched to a different character, and so we saw some new stuff with them, but then a huge chunk of their stuff was what happened to the teacher, but from a different point of view. And, okay, none of that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for hardware. I realized my town isn't actually a town. It's just a collection of houses. So, we're going to keep moving on, looking for a town. Maybe. Oh, I'm gonna stab. I can't stab. And so then we get in with his part, and then we switch to another guy, and then like a huge chunk of his stuff was the guy we just got done watching, but from that other guy's point of view. And I'm just like, oh, why do I have to keep rewatching the same thing over and over again? And then we switch back to, oh no, and then there was another guy, and a good chunk of his stuff was a rehash of what had happened under the second guy's point of view. And then we switch back to the teacher and the second guy, and then from no, you know what? There's one other character that went. So it was the teacher, one of the fathers, a police officer, a guy he arrested, the school principal, and then the kid who didn't vanish. And so we get stuff from each of their points of view, but a lot of it overlaps. And so we're just seeing the same scenes just from a different camera angle. And I'm just like, this is I don't need to see the argument in the auditorium where the parents are angry for an 18th time. I think they only show that like twice, but it's like the teacher goes to a liquor store, right? And then the next guy's thing is him sitting outside the liquor store watching her go in this liquor store. I'm like, I already know she goes in the liquor store. And then like the cop has some stuff, and then he goes to arrest this guy, and and then we get done with that scene, or with that character. Then we go to the guy he arrested, and then we see that guy doing some stuff, and then all the stuff that went down with the cop. I'm like, okay, we've already seen this. I don't need to see it again from his point of view. Stop just repeating it over and over again. So the movie's only like like an hour and 40 minutes or something, maybe 2 hours. I don't remember. And I don't know. And then it all turns out to just be this dumb thing where, like, it wasn't mysterious really. There was a witch. I'll say it. There was a witch, and she was, I think, trying to drain the life force out of people because she was maybe dying, and so she had come to town to live with her niece, and so then she tried to drain her niece and her niece's husband, and when that didn't do it, she got her great nephew, who's the kid who didn't disappear, to bring her stuff from school, and so he brought her an item from each of the kids. And so then she summoned all the kids to drain their life force. And so then it was just basically the cop and the principal and the teacher and one of the dads trying to figure out where the kids were at. Which they knew right off the bat. Like, right off the bat in the movie, they reveal where the kids are at, basically. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't think it was great. And then I watched the new Red Sonja. Also not great. I liked it better than Weapons. I don't understand why it was called Weapons either. Like, one guy in the whole movie got basically sent out to get rid of the teacher, and everybody else was either just standing there or in defense of the house where all the kids were at, and that was it. Nobody's really a weapon. Red Sonja, though, I felt like the actress they had to play Red Sonja should have been a little more muscular. I didn't think she was very intimidating as a, sword wielding warrior, and the storyline was really mid. There wasn't enough connections between the characters to make it feel like anybody mattered, and so I don't know. It was okay. It just I felt like it suffered from a lot of. It wasn't okay. So my big complaint about a lot of the modern movies is that they just film a scene and then they film the next scene and they film the next scene, and there's like nothing to connect the scenes. Well, the other issue I have with a lot of current movies is that they try to make like there's this emotional connection in a scene, but they didn't build up to the emotional connection. And so I feel like Red Sonja suffers from that pretty heavily. Um, uh, and I don't know. It just like spoilers for Red Sonja. Basically, she's like a lives with a family of or a village of druids, and they've got like a book full of knowledge, and these barbarian raiders raid the village, and her mother gets killed, and a bunch of them get taken as slaves, and a bunch of them escape, and somehow, and they don't ever really explain it. Somehow, her as a little girl escaped, but didn't end up with any of her family or any of the villagers. And so now that she's an adult, like 12 years later, she's trying to find. That's a weird road. She's trying to find her people, and then there's this new emperor who started to come into the forest, and he's got half of their book, but he's only got the machine half, and he wants the other half, and so he's looking for her people as well. But it's weird because they don't explain how she's still alive, why she can fight. She doesn't really use a sword the whole movie, which is weird for a character known as the She-Devil with a sword. Um, I mean, I guess there's some gladiator arena stuff where she fights some, but still, she's not really using her sword that much. In fact, the first time she fights in the gladiator arena, they give her a wooden sword, and so she dumps that pretty quickly. And then the second time they send her into the arena, she's got an actual sword, but as soon as the fight starts, she jams the sword into the ground and switches to knives. And I'm just like, yep. And then I think the one big sword fight she does have, she loses. Uh, I'm just like, man, which I guess technically, because of the lore, um, she should have done kind of what she did when she lost. But I don't know. The movie didn't really go anywhere, and there was like no connection. The There's like one scene with this guy, and he's like talking to this other gladiator, and he's like, "Why are you with that guy instead of me?" And then he goes over and introduces himself to Sonya, and he's like, "Hey, you should be with me." And then he tells her his name. I don't remember what his name exactly is, but it ends with the Untouched. And she goes, "Why are you called the Untouched?" And he's like, "Because no one has ever cut me with a dagger, or no blade has ever touched my skin," something like that. And so she tries to stab him with the little wooden practice dagger she's got, and he grabs her hand and stops her. And then the second time, when she shoves her sword in the ground and switches to her daggers, they think he's killed, and she's like, "Oh no, what happened to what's his face?" And whatever his name is, I don't remember what it is. And they're like, "Oh, he fell off the cliff." And they were all like, "Aw." And then he comes back over the cliff. And then they left. They escaped. And then he's like, "I'm leaving." And she's like, "We need you." And he's like, "Yeah, but my people need me, and so I must go and free my people." And so she rides over to him, and then she acts like she's gonna kiss him, and then she cuts him on the arm. And apparently, those three scenes were supposed to make some kind of romantic connection between them. I have no idea. But that was the kind of people interactions they had in that movie. Uh, I feel like there was like a white haired swordswoman. I feel like she had the most character progression in the film. And so I could get her relationship, but everybody else was like one scene and done, and then we're supposed to believe they're like deeply connected. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on in this movie, but you know. Um, and then my nephew wanted to watch a horror movie, so we watched. Oh no, I'm like miles from home too. Well, I mean, I'll just pop back at my base, but I was hoping to find a village or a city, and I found nothing. That road was that road was a long. I mean, look how far I went. I went south. I didn't find one. Although maybe this on the edge here. This kind of looks like it might be one. Yeah. The problem is I need a workbench so I can make a bicycle, and then once I have a bicycle, things will be good. So we watched, what was the name of that show we watched? The Conjuring tapes. They were weird. I wouldn't say they were good. I wouldn't say they were bad. They were kind of low budget. Um, and which isn't a problem. I'm just saying they were kind of low. It felt like I was watching a YouTube horror series. In fact, when it got to the one point and they had YouTubers that I recognized in the show, I was like, okay. Does this have? No. Okay. Well, let me dump this. I'll switch to this 2-level one that I found. And then um, that one though also super suffered from no connection. I don't understand what was supposed to be happening in it. Um, so they had they had these two sisters, and their third sister, died. I don't I don't remember why. And so they went to her house to clean it out, and when they got there, they were looking at. They found some videotapes, and like VHS tapes. And so they put in the first tape, and the people in the movies, some of the people look like the sisters, but aren't the sisters. I mean, they're played by the same actresses, but they're not supposed to be the sisters. It's supposed to be just people that happen to look like them. And so it was a bunch of little horror stories. Um, I think they were supposed to be connected, and the tapes were in a box that had ink drawing on the outside, and it said "Beware of Mr. Mockingbird." And so I think the first movie was kind of like Paranormal Activity. They did a Ouija thing, and then the one of the people went crazy and started killing them all. But I don't know what that had to do with either of the two connectors, I guess. And so that was weird. That it wasn't about Mr. Mockingbird, and it wasn't about this cult called the SOP. And so I don't know. I don't know why that first thing even existed, because it didn't have either the two main connectors in it. Well, I assume they're the main connectors, given that the box said "Beware of Mr. Mockingbird." And so then they watched a second tape, and the second tape was this like YouTuber guy who hunts ghosts, and they brought him in, and um, he brought his friend, and they were going to investigate. Okay, I thought that was going to be a garage. That wasn't a garage. We're going to investigate this. They were invited to investigate. And so when they got there, they're shown this woman who's possessed. And then they kind of start freaking out. And then the possessed woman gets free. And then the woman who brought them there, she's got a shotgun. And now she's shooting around the shotgun and demanding they do something. And so that continued until they I think they all got killed. And I'm just like, okay, again, no Mr. Mockingbird, and no cult. So what? And then okay, I know this place will have a garage. Crap, I went past the door. And so then the next one was like I think it was a therapist whose son had died, and so she brought a new client, and then he mentioned Mr. Mockingbird, and then she talked to a version of him that was Mr. Mockingbird, and then he started talking in the voice of her son, and then she got him to talk like Mr. Mockingbird again, and then she killed him. So that at least had Mr. Mockingbird sorta in it, but we're like 3 of the stories in, and I'm just like, I don't understand. And then I think at the end of that one, the tape went all staticky, and then Mr. Mockingbird appeared in the static, and then he was like, I don't know, he said some stuff, and then it came up with the like, this is a tape by the SOP, whatever that stands for, and so then there was like a video of these people. No, there was like a commercial for the SOP, and then it was a video of people going to investigate the SOP, and oh man, that guy broke up everything around here. And that one ended with the people who were making the video basically being killed, and then it jumped back to the sisters, and I'm just like, okay, so we got 1 actual SOP story, we got 0 actual Mr. Mockingbird stories. So I don't understand how these stories were supposed to be connected. They never explained why all the people in them look like the sisters who were watching the videos. And so yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't good. So I'll tell you what, I was 5 for 5 of not good stories yesterday, I'll tell you. And then we're like, okay, let's watch an anime. Because it's just me and my nephew this week, and everybody else has gone to some wedding stuff, or a bridal shower or something, I don't know. And so it's just me and him, and so we were going to marathon an anime this weekend, and so he wanted to watch horror anime. And so I thought, hey, this would be a good opportunity to watch Another, because I've never watched Another. And if you Google best horror animes, Another is always right up at the top of the list. And so I'm like, I'll finally get around to watching that, I guess. And oh man, I didn't think it was good. Um, okay, I heard things being busted, right? And I heard a zombie making noise, but now there's no zombie down in here. What the heck? So another, I didn't know what it was about going in, and so another is supposed to be uh, the class at the local high school is cursed, and so class 3 at the local, not high school, junior high, ninth grade is cursed, and so every year a bunch of people die related to that class. And so they're always trying to figure out how to get it to stop. And so how it started. Oh, okay. Dang it. Let's try to push past that guy. Oh, I should have just jumped down the fire pole. So how it started was 26 years earlier, a student had died, and the kids maybe pretended that he didn't die, and so they left out a desk for him, and they just pretended all the way from ninth grade through 12th grade that he was still alive and still attending the class. Oh, dang it. And so they, so then after they graduated, the year after they graduated, this is where it gets dumb. The year after they graduated, there was an extra student in the class who nobody remembered was supposed to be in the class, and so they had to get out an extra desk for the extra student. And then people started dying. And, oh, dang it, I don't really want to go out at night, especially in the rain. It's going to be pitch black inside. I'm pretty sure I don't have enough to make a workbench. Yes, workbench takes level 10. Forge. Forge takes level 5. I literally have not been able to find any books related to it. What about farm blocks? Rotting flesh, nitrate powder, and clay soil. Nitrate powder, I got a little bit. I've got wood. So we go through the whole series, and at no point does anything look like there's a curse. The whole 12 episodes. There's not a single ghostly anything related to this show, and it's crazy to me. I don't know. And then at the very end, they're like, "Oh, see, it was a curse, and there was a ghost." but it was literally the end of the last episode. Everything up to that made it seem like there wasn't a curse. Although everybody was going around acting like there was a curse. And I just felt like, I felt like, I felt like they put so much effort into making it seem like there wasn't a curse that it just ruined it for there to actually be a curse. And the curse doesn't make any sense, and the rules don't make any sense. And like they're like, so this is the curse, okay? Every like I said, every year there's an extra student, and they have to bring in an extra desk, but no one remembers who the extra student is, and so everyone has memories of the extra student before that year, and then once the year is over and the people have died, then nobody remembers who the extra student was, and the records that they were in school disappear. And so there's no record of them and no memories that they existed. There's just dead people. And I'm like, okay, there's not a curse then. If you can't remember that there was a ghost, and there's no records indicating there was a ghost, then how do you know there was a ghost? How does everybody talk about there being an undead student? I don't get it. It's so weird. And then this one guy at one point is like, two students died while we were on the school trip, and then I got in a fight with one of the other students, and they fell back and they hit their head on a tree and they died. And then nobody remembered who that student was except me. And I went back to find the body, and there was no body. And then the death stopped at that point. And so that's how I know. And I'm like, really? And so, like, there was the only evidence they had of that even being a true story was a cassette tape, but they damaged the cassette tape before they listened to that part. And so I just thought maybe the cassette tape was damaged so that you never hear the name of the person he thought he killed. I'm like, at this point, he's just crazy. Like, no curse has been shown. And then the whole end, couple of last episodes, is all the students just trying to kill each other, trying to figure out who's the undead student. And then it turns out there is an undead student. But there's no supernatural anything that occurs in that entire series. Which is until the very end, literally the very end. There's no indicators. There's no real indicators the whole series that anyone was actually a ghost. And I'm just like, because the deaths were just like mundane. And so it was like a girl's mother gets in a car wreck, because that's the other thing, is that the deaths aren't just students. It's the students and other people they're aware of are targets of the curse. And so they have like 30 students in the class, and then like 6 of them will die over the year. But then like 10 friends and family members outside the school will also die. And so that's counted as part of the curse. And so I'm like, it just sounds like they've hyped themselves up so much that people are dying. And so like, I just the deaths in the show were like, one of the girl's mothers got in a car wreck and died. And then when she was told, she started to rush out of the school. And they had this whole thing where they thought they figured out how to stop the curse was by pretending that one of the students didn't exist. And so they pretended this one girl didn't exist, but then they got a new student and he didn't know the rules and nobody would tell him the rules. And so he talked to her. And so because he talked to her, the death started back up. And so, so the girl whose mother died went running past them, and then she saw them, and it freaked her out because she saw the two "we're supposed to pretend you don't exist" people. And so she wasn't paying attention, and she slipped on the stairs, and she fell down the stairs and landed on her umbrella and died, right? So that's 2 deaths. But one was just a regular car wreck, and one was she got all freaked out and slipped and fell down the stairs, right? Nothing supernatural in that death. And then the next death, I think, was there was a nurse who was giving the main character information, and she was taking an old elevator up and down to the roof of the hospital, and the elevator broke and she died in the elevator. Nothing supernatural. It was an old, rusty, under construction elevator that she was using. Not anything shocking. And then I think there was uh oh, and then this kid was gonna tell him the rules, but he had a heart problem and he was so freaked out about telling him the rules because he wasn't supposed to that he had a heart attack and died. Right? Like, still not supernatural. Waiting for the supernatural aspect of this show. And I think one kid tripped and hit his head at home and got a concussion. And then they went to the beach and he took a nap and then he went to try to swim and he died from his brain bleed from his concussion. Again, not supernatural. And at the end, they were just straight up stabbing each other, burning the building down. It got real crazy at the end. And I was just like, nobody dies in this from a supernatural means. There's no like ghost pushing them. There's no like ghost redirecting traffic the wrong way. Nothing. There's nothing in that show that indicates a curse. And then at the very end, they find out who the undead student related person is. And then they're like, oh, you remember this one line from one episode, like 5 episodes ago? Well, that was the clue to let you know that this person was undead. And I'm like, okay, but that whole conversation seemed like it was taking place with the person. So how, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. And then I'm like, okay, this is so weird. I didn't like it. I don't understand how it's supposed to be horror because nothing happens the whole time. They just think things are supposed to happen and they never do. And then that was the end of it. And I'm just like, yep, nope. Don't know why this is the #1 horror series ever. Like, I was expecting something creepy or scary. And this was just basically the weird girl and the new student hanging out together, being shunned, and then the students tried to kill each other because they thought a curse was real. Oh, and then it turned out to be the curse was real, even though it had no impact on what happened in the show. I don't know. All right, with that, be better than small things, lean to the light, and I will talk to you later.